Hey guys, Coach Jay here, and today we're going to talk about what's the problem. He's got a girlfriend. Man, oh man, let me tell you, I've had more issues with boyfriends and girlfriends for my athletes over the years, way too many. And overall, I haven't been supportive of the relationships. And so, I think that for an athlete, they got to be really smart about having a girlfriend, having a boyfriend, whatever it is, situation is, and most high school kids don't handle it the right way. So, I'm not going to give out too many details because I'm not going to betray any of my clients' confidentiality, but I will tell you, in over 15 years of working with high school athletes that want to play in college and college athletes as well, um, the relationship can be a mostly a big distraction. And there are guys that I've told, I had one guy, he played at a pretty big SEC school, and I just remember telling him, "Hey man, you don't need to date anybody. You need to quit dating for a while." And you know the girl that he was dating was not really good for him, and she would call him up after she had been drinking and start to accuse him of cheating on her and all this kind of stuff, and turns out she was the one doing the cheating. And but I just remember one night or one day we were talking, and he had a baseball game the next day, and apparently she had called him at like 2:30 in the morning and had this crises call. And he was supposed to pitch the next day. He did not do well because he didn't get a good night's sleep. And I just told him, I was like, dude, you got to quit dating for a while. You got to get your confidence up, and I really just want you to work on your baseball for a while. I want you to be bigger, stronger, faster. I want you to be dialed into baseball. Once you get to a higher level, higher confidence, higher just success rate, then you're going to be more attractive to girls. But right now your confidence is not high enough, so you're attracting the wrong people, you're attracting the wrong girls. And so he broke up with a girl, and then he didn't date anybody for a while. He just worked on himself. And then probably a year later, I called him. He was at home for Christmas, and he gained a bunch of weight, and I was like, what's going on? I was like, have you got a girlfriend? And yeah, he did. He had a good one. He had a girl that was in the master's degree program. She was smart, she was attractive, and Big Ten school. And so I just remember thinking to myself, for most people, you got to be careful because water has a tendency to seek to it matches its own level. It seeks out its own level. So if you're down, you're going to seek out somebody else who's down. You're going to seek somebody else who's depressed and anxious, whatever. So the key is get your confidence higher, get your composure, your consistency, get all that higher so that you meet somebody else who's also got high confidence, high composure. Because the worst thing that you can do for your athletic career is date a girl with needy, no confidence, has to be texted 50 times a day, constantly calling, you know, and there's a ton of pretty needy girls. And same thing for guys. A lot of my girls, I tell them, you're way too pretty for dating that guy. He's not good enough for you. And it's the truth. They don't really know their own value. But I know values. I know smart, pretty, athletic, and I want my people to be, I want them to be happy in life. I want them to be productive, but there's no need to be dating somebody who's toxic. There's no need to be dating somebody who doesn't have enough confidence. They're always worried about you cheating on them, you meeting somebody else. And so another thing that I've run into recently with some of my higher level D1 guys is some of these girls have jumped in there, and they want to throw out the marriage card. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't talk about getting married. Don't talk about when we get married. man, it's a killer for a relationship because my guys are not thinking about getting married right now, and I can speak for them because I've worked with so many of them. They're just trying to play college. They're trying to be a starter. They're trying to get paid. They're trying to have a future in their sport. And if you start talking to them about getting married, man, you're ramping that thing way up. And so, anytime any girl starts talking about, it's mostly been the girls talking to my guys about getting married, getting engaged, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, dude, I don't want even when I hear that from one of my guys, I'm like, I don't even want you to consider it until you're 28 years old. And I'm talking to a 19 or 20-year old. I'm like, don't even consider it till you're 28. And that's just good advice. I mean, look at Derek Jeter. Fortunately for Derek Jeter, he did not. He didn't. He dated girls and all that kind of stuff, but his baseball career was first, and he had his eye on the target. He did the right things. And I was just talking to another guy that's a client of mine who's he played for the Yankees too, and he was just telling me he's like, a lot of people they settle in pretty quickly, and they don't get what they think they're getting. And the main thing that for me is when you're in college, when you're in high school, you're just learning. You're learning about dating. You're learning about the opposite sex, and you're really just test driving different people to kind of see what you like and what you don't like. And so my advice is that you need to get experience. You need to be good in things, in your sport. Learn other skills from college, and then if you do that for a period of time and you go through some adversity, then you talk about these other things. But you know just many times the girlfriend is a problem, and a lot of times how you know that is when the athlete is more emotional, when they got highs and lows. Those are good indicators that they're in a relationship and it's making them too emotional, because it doesn't need to be that. If it gets too high and too low, and you can look at a lot of these professional golfers, man, when they're going through all these relationships and stuff, with volatile relationships, man, their golf game is in the toilet. And I'm not going to mention some names, but man, there are some guys out there that really, whew, test case in it all. So all that being said, be smart about your relationships. Be smart about girlfriends, boyfriends. Be smart about how much time you spend there. Um, be smart about your career. Be smart about being the best you can be, not only in school but also with your sport. So I'm Coach Jay. I'm down in Ponte Vedra, Florida. I work with athletes every single day, 7 days a week, most of the time, and a lot of high school athletes that are going to go to college and play college sports that are getting paid. And also, I got a lot of college guys who are getting paid and to play college sports. And it's a lot to navigate. And this whole girlfriend boyfriend thing is can be part of it. And if the relationship is not good and if it's not supportive of what you're trying to do, end it, get rid of it, finish it off. Don't waste any more time there. Spend more time developing yourself. And so, all that being said, I can be found on X at College Scout FB. I can also be found on Psychology Today. I'm listed there as Coach J. And then I can also, let me see what else. And my website is sportsintervention.com. So subscribe. I'm just starting out with this whole YouTube thing. Don't really know how it all works, but I'm just trying to get some information out there. If I can be of service to you, you can find me at those places and reach out to me. And so, all that being said, God bless.